and welcome to another episode of the Strong Family Project podcast. I'm Joe, back again with Mel.
Welcome back to the Strong Family Project podcast, where we guide you on the path to raising confident, independent, and resilient children in a strong family environment.
Big week for us and the people who have been following strongfamilyproject.com. We've been putting out 70 plus episodes for you. We put out some articles on the website, but not very often. We put out a lot of YouTube content for you, a lot of Instagram content for you. And finally, we finished the Strong Family Guidebook. So this stuff should support what you're doing at home. And it's tough to listen to 70 episodes, 200 YouTube videos, all this and come up with a coherent plan. So we put it in a very small guidebook for you, available on Amazon. Mel, how do you feel about that?
I'm so excited about it. It's the first time that I have written a piece of something that's being published, which is exciting. Well, that's not really true. I guess something that's widely published, because we had the book that you wrote for the kids and I wrote a little thing in there. But I love this because I personally like having things written down. And I think the best part about the book, too, besides the fact that there's the whole guidebook section explaining how to do the different steps of the path, but you get a taste of our process of how we got to where we are. And it's our personal story, but I think it can be a bit inspiring to read something that's a story, not just like a how-to.
Yeah, this was an interesting approach for the Strong Family Guidebook. And the mindset is this: I know marketing and I know how to do book launches, and we didn't do any of those things. We just put it up so that the people who have been the diehards can get it now. It would have taken us another year to do a marketing plan and all that and do pre-launch. And while we will do that when it comes to the second book and expanding this version, I just didn't want to do it. We wanted to make it readily available and quickly available. Right now it's $8.99 on Amazon, which is a wild discount for your entire family plan. And so while we at strongfamilyproject.com, we do give away like the steps of Strong Family Path. Here's what's in the book. We tell the story about how each one of those steps came to our lives. And then when we implemented it, what happened. That's the first half of the book. Second half of the book is where Mel really shined, which are the 7 steps of the path and exactly how to implement them in your family. It's almost like a workbook in the second half so that you can take the 7 steps, which I'll have Mel share with you here in a second again, and you can take them and make them your own. And so we get a story, we got the steps, it's all in one book for under $9 right now. And the reason why we did that again is because we have a busy family. We do have multiple jobs, careers, investment properties, and everything going on. And I felt like it was a disservice because we actually wrote this book back in April. Before the podcast launched, we wrote the book thinking, all right, we're going to get around to launching this in a few months, and then a couple more months, then a few more weeks. And it just never happens. We said, all right, we got to put it out there. We're not going to do this comprehensive pre-launch plan. And I know it would have brought in more money, but the big picture, we want to impact lives. And I know if you picked up this book, your life will be impacted and you may share it with somebody else. So Mel, instead of just making this like a sales podcast, why don't you give them some content on what the 7 steps to the path are that they could expect?
Sure. So the first step is establishing your core values, which we talked about that all the time. And it's the first episode
1 of this
yes.
podcast.
So that really is the foundation for everything. And if you listen to any of our podcasts, really, I think we refer to the values at least once in like almost all of them, because it's how we make decisions. It's how we guide our family, and we talk about them with the kids all the time.
So we teach you what are some sample core values, how to do kill, keep, or combine, how to come up with your own core values. We give you ours as a sample in the book, but you don't have to adopt them. What's that?
A timeline as well.
Timeline, the age of kids to apply this to, so it's all in the book for you. But establishing the core value process is a big piece, and there's some bits about it.
Yeah, so there's always little caveats that I would write. If you have this age kids, how can you include them? Once you have the values set up, how do you display them and implement them with your family? All those things are in there. And next we have, I'm probably not going to do these in the right order, but the morning routine. So again, we do talk about the importance of having a morning routine, what impact that has on your family. I do write out exactly what ours looks like, and we do continually tweak it. Like last year, I ended up getting up a little bit earlier every day because I wanted a little bit more time for myself before the kids get up. So it's tweaking it so that it works with your family, but you have an example of ours to bounce yours off of or to start as a starting point.
I love the idea of setting the tone. Set the tone for the day. whether it's ourselves as individuals or the kids, you don't want to set a tone of them being so sleepy and then getting served on to get everything done for them, and like carrying them to the car and they moan and groan and they're a little bit late to school. Like that sets a tone for a negative day and a negative outcome. And that's what kids prefer. They prefer to move slow, and they'll default to that if you don't have a plan. And so having a morning plan is critical.
Yes, we have to often push against human nature of just being lazy and sitting around. So this is a good way to start your day. Another is family dinners. And we talk about the importance of being consistent with that. It doesn't have to be dinner. It can be lunch or breakfast or whatever works best for your family. But having that consistent time together.
One tip for that is consistent time together, but it does not have to be consistent time. So if you get married to dinner at 6 every day, that might work some days, but what about sports seasons? We prefer having it together than having it at the same time. So there's one tip there. What's the next one?
There's always flexibility. The next is family meetings, which for us fall during our family dinner time. But this really, I lay out in the guidebook the steps of our family meeting. Again, it's not set in stone. It's what works for us. It helps us to reflect on what our values are, how we have embodied those values during that past week. It helps us move forward in our goals, which is the next piece. And also it allows the children an opportunity and us to contribute to problem solving, to learn how to communicate with each other, to complement each other. The whole thing is pretty magical. And I know meeting can be boring, but we've created a way to have it be fun for the kids. They look forward to it. So I touched on this, but another one is goal setting. So I go through in the guidebook the different strategies that we have for our goal setting. We set an annual vision, we do quarterly checkups, and then we also have a weekly commitment that we set during our family meeting to help work towards those annual goals. Mm-hmm. And really it helps with accountability too, because the kids get to say, hey, did you do your commitment today?
Yep.
And it's that little reminder to keep plugging along one step at a time. Next is the evening debrief, which I personally love that. I explain again how ours works, and we have different age kids, so it's based on how the ages of your kids and how certain topics can be too mature for them. So I put my 5-year-old to bed, and then I do an evening debrief with my older 2. But the point is to set up that time at the end of the day so the kids can have your undivided attention in case something comes up that they need to discuss with you. That could look very different for many different families, but it's really a bedtime routine, and then you work in this extra time just in case they need you.
And I'm going to jump in on the next one because it's one of my favorites, which are household relationships. And it helps us understand that the only relationship in the household isn't us and the kids. It's husband and wife. It's us as individuals. It's the kids, our siblings to each other. It's us to the kids. So there's a lot of relationships to keep an eye on. And in the guidebook, we talk about how we can identify which one seems off instead of just assuming everything's off. It could be just one of those relationships and getting it down to something that's actually solvable and manageable. Mel's got the coughs from drinking her wine. It's kombucha.
Down the wrong pipe.
I think that's not true.
You don't believe that?
You got one pipe.
The air one.
Yeah, that's the one.
There's an air one and there's an eating one.
Okay, the science of breathing is not in the book. It says not our expertise.
I don't like that just happened, but it reminds me that we are a family just like any other. Things happen all the time. We are not some kind of perfect. Do not put us on a pedestal. That is not at all why we're here. We're simply here to strengthen families. We think we have something going on that will help your family be stronger and more bonded and have more of an identity. So many kids walk around just not knowing who they are. I think I brought this up at one of the last podcasts, but a woman said, your kid, wow, he just knows who he is. I really want him to keep doing that and not fall to some trend or something that's coming up. And I think that's really what this does. It gives your family an identity. It gives you what you're fighting for, and it gives you a purpose.
So I do want to land the airplane on this because I don't want to go longer than our 10 minutes. We've already talked too much about it. But listen, if you want to choose one of these 7 steps even and amplify your family life and really have a magical year, We wrote the book. We made it as cheap as possible for under $9. We'll drop a link in the description. Feel free to even ask us questions along the way. Even if you don't want to get the book, that's fine. We're here to help you out. Post a question either on the YouTube or go over to strongfamilyproject.com. Shoot us an email, and we'll be happy to help you out because we really want more families to be more grounded and have just an on fire next year. Talk